Okay, good evening. Before we start the regular meeting, we have a few committee meetings to start, really just some ministerial issues that we have to dispense of. The first is the Employment Compensation Committee meeting, called to order tonight, November 17th, 2022. And we have two members of the committee here, myself and Mo. And the first item on the agenda is really just to approve the minutes of the last meeting that was held December 7th, 2021. Read the minutes. If you have any other comments, we can move to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Guess I can second that. And
The minutes of what date?
December
7th, 2021. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. It's done, and the next is the,
Oh, you could adjourn the meeting.
yeah, okay, so motion to adjourn the employment compensation
I'll
meeting?
move.
Second? Aye. All in favor? Aye. And the next we're doing is the governance. And this is to do two items. The first is approval of the minutes, December 7th, 2021, of the Governance Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. And the second item is a readoption of the self-evaluation form for the NIFA directors and taking of related actions. Is there a motion for that?
Yep, I'll move.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion to adjourn the governance committee meeting?
Move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will not be doing the audit committee tonight. We'll do that at a later date, but we'll do, the last one here is the finance committee meeting as well. Only item on this agenda is the approval of the minutes of the finance committee meeting, also that was held on December 7th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're done with the committee?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. So now we will go to the full board meeting for the NIFA directors meeting for November 17th, 2022. Again, first item on this agenda is approval of the minutes that were held on October 20th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. The second item is the adoption of a gender-based violence in workplace policy and authorizations to take related actions. Connell, you'll present?
Yes, Executive Order Number 17 requires New York State agencies such as NIFA no later than January 1 of 2023 to adopt a gender-based violence in the workplace policy by referring to the model promulgated by the State Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence and adopting its provisions as appropriate. The NIFA policy is the model policy and has been submitted as required in draft form to the state for review. You are being asked to adopt the new policy with such revisions as are required or recommended by the state office and as approved by the chairperson or his designees. I'm happy to address any questions you may have about this item.
Are there any questions? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the extension of lease of office space and the taking of related actions. Connell, you'll present as well.
Yes. The background here is in 2015, the directors authorized the lease of the office space for the staff on Franklin Avenue in Garden City, and the lease expires in July of 2023. At the May 31st meeting, the directors authorized the retention of attorney Thomas Toscano to negotiate an extension of the lease with the landlord. As requested by staff, Mr. Toscano has negotiated an extension for a period of 5 years and 5 months, from July 2023 to December of 2028, with an abatement of the monthly base rent during the first 5 months of the extension. The landlord has offered to renew the lease at a reduced cost of $33 per square foot, or $9,504 per month, beginning in July of 2023, with a minor increase in the electrical cost and a yearly escalation of the base rent of 3%. The agreement would also provide NYFA with the option to renew the lease at the end of the extension for an additional 5 years. Therefore, you are being asked to authorize staff to enter into an agreement to extend the lease substantially upon the terms described in the materials. I'm happy to address any of your questions.
And is the amount for the annual costs consistent with the financial plan for NYFA in terms of our budget?
My understanding is
Yes, it
yes.
is.
Yes.
So no modification is needed for that?
That's correct.
Any other questions?
I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item is the authorization to post findings and distribute copies of reports. Evan?
So, thank you. At the October 20th board meeting, the director selected 2 firms to undertake reviews of 3 Nassau County entities and provide their findings and reports, as is now required by New York State legislation that was enacted in April of 2022. These mandated reviews are the first iteration of biennial audits that we will be conducting excuse me, for the Nassau County Industrial Development Agency, the Nassau Regional Off-Track Betting Corporation, and Nassau University Medical Center. Alvarez and Marcel was engaged by NYFA to review the IDA, and Deloitte and Touche was engaged to review OTB and NUMC. All the reviews have commenced and are in the initial fact-gathering stage. We expect the reviews of the 3 entities to be completed by mid-December, and for the 2 consulting firms to have completed their written reports by the end of December. Because of the time constraints for fulfilling our new mandate by the deadline being so tight, this resolution that is before you authorizes the chairman or his designee to post the consulting firm's reports and findings on our website and to distribute them as in accordance with, to state officials in accordance with the legislation. That's what's before you.
I'll move for approval.
Do you have any questions? Sorry.
Yeah, the only thing I would, just, if you can give an update on, so, these firms were authorized and hired the last meeting. I assume they've begun their work. Is it your sense that they will be able to complete this work by the time required?
Connell, I don't know if you want to add anything to what I say, but it's our understanding that they will complete their reports and be able to prepare and provide to us their written findings in time. Though I think we all recognized it was a very condensed schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and the scopes under which they are each working were somewhat constrained because of the time constraints. Or I should say, the scopes were limited due to the time
Sure.
constraints.
Right. I agree. In my contacts with them, both firms have indicated that they believe they're on track, assuming they're getting cooperation, which they have gotten so far.
Okay, that was my next question, to make sure that there was no stonewalling or dragging of feet getting information. So as far as you're concerned, information requests have been timely responded to.
So far, there have been some follow-ups, there have been some gaps that naturally would occur, but they're following up on those, and that's the process they're going through at this moment.
I have a question.
Sure.
What, if any, repercussions would happen if we don't have the report by the date?
There's nothing in the statute that describes any repercussions, but of course, we would like to fulfill the mandate.
And just to maybe emphasize the obvious, these reports that are being prepared, that we engage these consulting firms to prepare on our behalf, are going to be turned over without any, intervention, on our
Mhm.
part. So this is truly to fulfill the mandate put forced on us by the state legislation. We've engaged these consultants. They're going into the 3 entities. They're analyzing according to the scopes that we've agreed on, and we will just forward the findings.
Yeah, I think our goal has been to hire highly reputable firms that maintain high standards of integrity and independence, and to, not have any view that there's any tampering or trying to, push things or bias in any direction, but just have it done as objectively as possible, so that it can be viewed in that way in the public. Any other questions? Waiting for a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next item is the consideration of the county's adopted multi-year plan, fiscal years 2023 through 2026. As you recall, at last meeting, there was a discussion about the county executive's proposed plan that went to the legislature. So now the legislature has taken their action. There was no veto by the county executive, then it moves over to us. And Evan, do you want to just give an update as to what has happened since the county executive sent it to the legislature? If there were any changes or modifications made that are concerning to you, and whether or not anything that is before us tonight is changed in any way the assessment that you had previously rendered in terms of the risks outlined in your earlier report.
So, thank you. Just to reiterate what you said, on October 28th, the county legislature adopted a multi-year financial plan for 2023 through 2026, the first year of which is the budget for 2023. There were no changes, no amendments put forward, or I should say, no amendments that were adopted by the legislature. So consequently, the adopted financial plan, again, 2023 being the first year of the budget, is the first year of the plan, that is identical to the proposed budget and plan that had been submitted, and we had already discussed at length and detailed in a staff report that was released in October. We have concluded that although there are projected risks in 2023, they should be manageable, and if anything, they have improved slightly from our assessment in October, due primarily to continued strength in sales tax revenue. As explained in the October staff report, the projected risk could lead to a deficit of the same size if those projected risks are not resolved by the end of 2023. However, depending on several factors, such as the timing of labor agreements, whether they are reached or not before the end of the year, what the actual sales tax revenue collection is in 2023, and the duration and intensity of local recession, and the timing of any court rulings in favor or against the county on some of the issues that we brought up. depending on those items, the actual deficit may be greater or smaller than the risks that we had highlighted. Regarding the out years of the plan, the potential mismatch between revenues and expenditures, that has similarly improved from our October assessment. The administration will need to manage these risks in the coming years, which in 2023, our projections are low by historical standards, and any others, I should say, and in the out years, those risks are consistent with or lower than levels of projected risks in multi-year financial plans that the board has approved in past years. So I think based on those reasons, we are recommending that the board approve the adopted multi-year financial plan for 2023 through 2026.
Question, are there any material risks or contingencies you are aware of that have occurred since we last looked at it?
No, nothing new has come out that would change our assessment. If anything, it was only for the better
Now,
on the margins.
as we spoke at the last meeting, we had sent a letter to the county executive, I guess in deliberation, contemplation of the control period, but it had a lengthy list of questions we wanted clarity on and that were concerning. At that time, they had not responded. To date, have you received answers to the questions that were sent?
No, we have not received answers to those questions.
Okay, just want to make sure that, just for the benefit of the board, that can note that.
Right.
And that was since July, correct?
That is correct. And just to, again, perhaps make it clear, our recommendation for the board to approve this multi-year financial plan is separate from any decision or determination this board may make regarding the control period. They're two separate things.
Yep, noted. Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a consideration of issuance of general obligation bonds by Nassau County.
The county has informed NIFA of its desire to raise money to pay for certain general and sewer capital projects in the amount of $40.8 million through its sale of general obligation bonds. The county is seeking NIFA's approval for the borrowing as required during the current control period. The amount requested and the associated debt service are consistent with the county's multi-year financial plan, and the county has indicated that all of the projects have bond ordinances approved by the county legislature. The county has also informed us that it currently plans to issue the bonds in the first quarter of 2023. However, in order for the county to reimburse itself for expenditures already made in fiscal 2022 from operating funds, the borrowing needs NIFA's approval this calendar year. Therefore, you are being asked to approve the county's proposed issuance of bonds, subject to the terms and conditions outlined in the materials and the resolution. I'm happy to address any questions you may have.
So I have a question. So our approval, I think it's needed now because it has to be basically an inducement resolution in order to capture, right, any reimbursement of money spent from this point to when they actually issue the bonds, correct?
Correct.
Any idea when they are planning to actually issue bonds because of the interest rate environment's not as favorable right now?
They've told us the first quarter of 2023, but I don't know if Andy or anyone here has any other more recent projection than that.
Well, we're still planning to go Q1 of 2023, so.
Right. And the total amount?
40.8 million.
How much?
Approximately 40.8 million.
Okay.
What is the amount of expenses to be incurred in connection with this?
I think it's usually less than 2%, Andy?
Yes, that's correct.
And, Andy, based on your conversations with the financial advisor, I mean, for this amount of money, would you issue bands and just wait it out until rates maybe come back down? Or you want to lock in long-term bonds at this point?
I think we're not looking to do bands right now. We've kind of gotten away from that
Mhm.
practice for short-term borrowings, although the interest rate environment kind of might be favorable. We haven't made that decision yet, I will say that. We have to see what happens with rates, but, you know, we're gonna be probably going out to market with probably additional, this is just for the advances of projects that
Yep.
are in place, so we'll be coming back to you with any
Sure.
additional borrowing needs that we're gonna have in the first quarter, so.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm going to say here, I don't know how we can put it into our approval, but we haven't, I don't know if we've gone through this to the extent that we've gotten an accounting confirmation that these are all GAAP capital projects, that there's nothing in here that would be determined an operating expense. So even though it may be under local finance law bondable, so I think our approval, just to make it clear, would be conditional upon that.
Yeah, we could do that. We could certainly add that, you know, condition upon that all projects are GAAP eligible for capital.
Yep.
I think that's right.
And I'd say, just to the earlier point Adam was raising, worth considering, because rates are high now. Maybe high for a little while, but not forever. So kind of the financing strategy, it would be good to understand when you come back to us, how you plan to deal with that and optimize the cost of funding.
Understood.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of bands or making it callable at a certain point, but you gotta pay for that premium, but giving yourself the optionality so you're not locking into high for long.
We've had this discussion with PFM regarding this, but, rates could go up, they could go down. We've gotten out of the short-term borrowing business because that's
Right.
what we presented. But I am in agreement too, depending upon where rates are. If we catch the market at the right time and we wait 9 months and they drop again, then we can do the issuance and sit and wait, but we have to look at it. I mean,
Sure.
this is, you guys are all over at this point.
Yes.
It's very choppy right now, and you gotta, not time, you can't really time it, but you have to know when we can get it.
Yeah, and preserve your optionality, right? Yep.
Well, and we'll let you know what we determine at the time we get ready to do it, so.
Sure. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll move.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. I think that's wraps up our business. If anybody else has any other comments, otherwise I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And